Hello, everyone, and happy Friday. We got Dustin Keto Simple calling us out in the chat that we are late. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I know, right? That's messed up.
Well, we know Dustin. Dustin's a good
Dustin's
friend,
never late,
and
is he?
no, and we will not change him. We like Dustin as he is. So, Dustin, it's all right. You're busting our
Yes,
chops.
it's okay.
But welcome, everybody. As you can see, we have Susie that sometimes you guys would see her in the chat. So this is Susie Underwood. So if anyone is familiar with seeing that handle name in the chat, we are super excited to have her here with us because she is not a content creator, and that is something that Cindy and I are completely overjoyed to have somebody that is not a content creator, but still has so much of value and importance to have her story brought across to everybody. And it's exciting for us because we hope that it encourages others that are not content creators, that don't have a YouTube channel, to come on and share their journey because this is truly about inspiring others. And you never know who your story, who your journey is going to resonate with. So we wholeheartedly appreciate you accepting our invitation, Susie. We're going to go ahead and say hello to some in the chat. So we have Jason here. Hello, Jason.
Hey,
Welcome,
Jason.
welcome. So I'm just letting you all know my voice is kind of a little blah. I've been babysitting a cough and cold for the past week now. So definitely bear with me. There might be times that I'm having to mute to kind of let a cough out, but thankfully, bone broth has been my savior.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at
Yes. So,
Dustin's
Dustin,
comment.
I would have been first if it wasn't for those meddling kids. So I said to him that that's giving Scooby Doo vibes for sure.
Meddling kids are the
So
worst,
here
I'm telling you.
he's yeah, so here he's busting Jason's chops, saying, I bet if we pull the mask off, Jason is a real ghost. So here we have Arden, Uncle Big Guy. Howdy all. Hi, Susie and Sana. Welcome, Arden. Thank you so much for being here. Arden is another amazing supporter. We absolutely appreciate you.
Yes.
Jason will be here listening. He needs to work on this week's Chaffle video. Oh,
Oh,
he has
anything
been,
good, Jason? Tell
yes.
us.
If
Tell
you
us.
want to kind of leak a little bit of information into the chat, but he has some really interesting ones that he's featuring, which is really exciting.
Yeah, and I'm on a chaffle kick lately, so let's
Oh, they
go.
are, I'm telling you, like our keto kids, that is like their go-to. That is their go-to. It's just it's so easy, so it's like, how can you even say no to
How about
Choco?
you, Susie? Do you get into the chaffles?
I have not yet tried a
Oh my
chaffle.
goodness.
I
Oh my
know.
Do you
word.
do
I
dairy?
I am doing dairy
Okay.
currently. I had the dairy free month and I've gone back to it. I've been eating a little bit of cheese recently just to test it
Hmm.
out and see how my skin reacts. Yeah,
Well,
but I
Okay.
there are some cheeseless chaffles at waffles, whatever.
Hmm.
Like the white bread chaffle
Right,
waffle
right.
is cheeseless. That's with
oh
a little bit of almond flour and mayonnaise, egg, baking powder. I forgot what else, but if you Google chaffle
I think
recipes or waffles,
yeah,
goodness, you'll come up with a ton.
so many.
I know Jason has the chaffle magic. I know where to go to
Yes.
get the rest of the recipes.
Here we have
Dustin,
Lynn.
yeah,
Hello,
Dustin
Lynn.
has a
I live.
no cheese chaffle on his channel too. He said,
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I proceed cautiously with cheese these days, but I did have a little slice today just to see.
And you've been doing well with it so far?
Well, I did try yogurt adding yogurt back in, and I've noticed if I
Okay.
do it more than a couple weeks in a row, I start to get some skin irritation around my eyebrows and my mouth. So I think with yogurt, I have to just cycle in and out of it. Yeah, I tried some cottage cheese yesterday, and my stomach it didn't agree with me. So
Oh
I don't.
no.
Yeah. So
It's amazing, like how quickly our bodies can like respond and let us know
yeah,
what gives us, the irritations
yeah.
and possible hindrances. Here
This
we
is
have
my granddaughter.
Tracy. Yep, and
Oh,
Cindy's
hello,
granddaughter.
Trinity.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you for always showing us some support. And then here, Dustin, yes, he's saying that he has no cheese truffles on his channel. So definitely anyone that is trying to stay away from cheese, definitely go ahead and check out Dustin's videos on that. Aw, showing some love. Aw.
She's a good girl.
I've to record a video tonight needs a dish for which pitch in tomorrow's super easy low carb dish that'll fool the full carb crowd. Huh.
Use your potato keto chow, Dustin. That's powerful. Or
Yeah,
the
you
cream of
can
mushroom.
you could definitely use that. Because I'm sure, there's probably like a lot of pastoral ideas that could be, inspired for that as well.
I put some up. Those, those are good flavors. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I've seen, oh my gosh, the amount of orders people are putting in because of all the rave about it. For those missing
I got
potato.
mine the other day.
And that potato was the one carb that I found just irresistible. So I am tempted.
They,
I'm right there
Susie,
with you,
they are
Susie.
so good.
Are they really?
And
Oh.
I used turnips for the potatoes in the au gratin that I made. Ham and turnips with that baked potato keto chow.
Oh my.
It
Wow.
was ridiculously good.
Oh,
And
I
I
bet
made
you wish
Steve's recipe for the potato soup. Steve from Serious Keto, I used
Mhm.
his recipe for soup, and then I layered the casserole with the soup and sliced turnips and diced ham, and then
Mm.
topped it with some cheese and pork rinds. Holy mackerel, that was good.
That sounds like holiday dish worthy.
There
Right.
you go, Dustin. It was so good.
You see, there's an idea. It's an
Ooh.
Asian chicken salad. Oh, so is that what the idea is going to be? That
Nice.
sounds really good.
Yeah, I think the Lunar New Year is tomorrow as well. So Chinese New Year.
Yes, yes, that would be definitely good timing to pitch
Good
that.
timing. Yeah.
But I'm right there with you, Susie, when it comes to the potatoes because I was always a savory food lover. So,
Hmm.
a
Well,
Yeah.
baked
you need to try
potato,
these,
or
Sana.
I'll have to slowly get up until that point.
You
Because I have
better
not,
you better
especially
get
with
to that
this
point to order them quick because they're about running out.
cough and cold that I've been babysitting for the past week, like I've had to even postpone like my reintroduction that I'm gonna do for the month of February. So far, I mean, I've had avocado here and there. I have not had avocado in like weeks.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
so
I'm just saying
everything's kind of postponed for now
if
to
you're
just
even
order it
thinking
and
about
have
getting those
it.
flavors, you better jump on it
Yes,
because
no, absolutely.
they're
I'll
already
definitely,
more than half gone.
yeah, no, tonight,
They're
I'll
quick.
definitely, yeah, a dish that people won't know is low carb. Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. And I think people like don't really realize because the thing is, we've spoke about this so many times on the lives that, a lot of times what is perceived as healthy is truly not healthy. Anyone that follows Dr. Ken Berry, he had just posted a recipe that the American Heart Association was advertising, and it had like 20 something carbs, and I think it was only for a half a cup serving, if I'm saying that correctly. So you're talking about like almost like nearly 30 carbs for just half a cup
Yep.
of this recipe. So, even when it comes to something like that, people perceive it as healthy, especially, who's advertising that recipe. They're not second guessing. But yeah, to show people truly what looks healthy, but truly is healthy is so important. So
Yep.
I love that you're doing that, Dustin. The casserole and the truffles and gravy look so good, Cindy. Comfort food. Oh, yes. Yes, that is definitely very much what it is. Comfort food.
It was good. And then with the cream of mushroom, I made a tuna noodle casserole using the healthy noodles from Costco.
Yes, 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 yes.
So good. Anyway, we need to hear Susie's story.
Yes, let's acknowledge Debbie in the chat. Hello, Debbie.
Hello,
She's another
Debbie.
great
Debbie.
supporter. Thank you so much. Let me just get to Lynn's comment here. I make lasagna a lot for non-keto people and they love it. I use slices of lunch meat for the noodles. You can't tell the noodles are missing. Yes, that is definitely a really good hack when it comes to using the deli meat. Great,
Yep.
great ideas. So Susie, yes, we do have some in the chat currently right now. That way we can give a great opportunity to everybody to hear your story. So whatever you're comfortable with sharing for those that possibly don't know you or those that have never been able to truly hear your journey, but we are so familiar with you in the chat, we would love for you to share as much as you want to be able to share about your journey.
Yeah,
Yeah, what
sure.
got you started on keto or ketovore or carnivore or whatever?
Sure. Well, it started back in 2020, and I was having a year that, like many other people were having, I was stuck at home eating things that weren't right for my body, and began to do a lot of emotional eating, stress eating, boredom eating, and I had this fixation on nachos for some reason, and I got to the point where I didn't feel well. I wasn't going to my exercise classes. I was just doing walking and hiking, and I felt really bloated. Um, I and it really affected my mood as well. I noticed that my emotional health wasn't great. I was having some real struggles with that too, and I decided and I believe it was in 2021, I decided that I was going to make some healthy changes. And it was sometime like within this in the spring of 2021. I decided I was going to start with my nutrition and get my food under control a little better. And I had at one point in time years ago done what was called the wheat belly diet, and basically it was an elimination of wheat, as it sounds like, and most grains. So I had done that diet before and had some success with weight loss. And although I was doing something of a vegetarian version of the diet, and I thought, well, I've done that before. That was helpful to me. Maybe what I'll start to do is cut back on the breads and the pastas and, the grain products. And so I started doing that, and also started making some incremental changes where like one week I decided, okay, no more desserts. Next week, okay, no more beer. Then I said no more snacks, and I like week after week I made a tweak that was not too much. At one time I eventually got to where I realized like I wasn't hungry for breakfast, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to wait until I'm hungry, and I'll have like a brunch or lunch. And anyway, so I was going through this, and I was still eating primarily I call it a plant forward diet. I was having like 2 vegan meals a day and 1 vegetarian. So I was getting a little bit of dairy in there, but I wasn't eating a whole lot of protein at all. And one day my husband brought home these ice cream sandwiches, and they were or ice cream bars, and they were branded as keto. And I thought, what is keto? Like, what? I honestly, I didn't know if it was like an ingredient, or
Right.
there's a way of preparing it, or that it meant sugar free. I wasn't sure. So I went into YouTube, and of course I'm like, what is keto? And then of course up came some of the popular names like Thomas DeLauer and Dr. Berg. Um, and Dr. Gundry too. And I started listening to some of these influencers, and Dr. Gundry's channel actually had a real impact on me, because he talked a lot about gluten and lectins. And I thought, oh my God, you know what? I've I've I wonder if I don't have some kind of issue with gluten and lectins. And I thought, I'm going to eliminate the foods with those in them, right, and see how I do. And at the same time, I started going over into what you would call like a clean keto diet, where I was, you know, gradually started adding in more protein and reducing like all of the really carby stuff. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to just cut out the potatoes and the sweet potatoes and the really carb heavy vegetables. And I lost 20 pounds like that. I mean, it just fell off. I mean, it was really, now I was close to probably the upper limit of what would be considered healthy, normal weight. I was on the border of being plump. And so the first 20 pounds came off like it was really rapid. And I'm sure a lot of it was like water weight. And then as I moved deeper into keto, I realized I was not getting enough protein. And so I started adding in bison and venison and elk and meats because I had not eaten red meat in, it was, I think, over 30 years, with the exception of a couple of times when I had been given some ethically harvested venison. I basically had no red meat for over 30 years. And I was a little bit like, I don't know how
Oh,
my body's
wow.
going
That's a
to
long
react to it.
time.
It was, yeah, it was, and for me, it was kind of like a spiritual thing, because I love cows, and I met a cow. My aunt had cattle that were intended to become, hamburgers, and I got to meet them, and they were so beautiful, and I was like, oh, I can't eat them. Like, one of them's name was Freckles, and I'm like, I
Oh
can't.
no.
Oh, no.
It's like, don't name your animals if you're gonna.
When you put that attachment,
I
no.
know. And Freckles, she was beautiful, and I'm like, I can't do that. So it took a while before I actually could eat beef again, but I started with bison and elk, and then sort of eventually, I got to where I had started listening a lot to Dr. Barry, and realized that my body needs red meat. My body needs the fat that comes with red meat, and the best source is, are the ruminant animals. And so I slowly went into eating actual honest to goodness beef, and I lost another 20 pounds. I had gone from being like a clean keto to ketovore, and I was having just a little bit of broccoli, or a little bit of, I loved bok choy. I was really into bok choy, eating bok choy, and then a much larger portion of meat. However, I was not careful with my fat intake, and I still hadn't really put two and two together that my body needed much more fat, especially as a woman. And I had gone through menopause at that point, and I was like, I really needed the fat. And I realized I realized I was having a problem with something with my macros when my hair started to fall out. And I got down to close to 90 pounds too. So I'm 5'1". So I was underweight at that point. And I
How
had
tall are you?
I'm 5'1".
Wow.
Yeah. And so I was underweight. My hair started really shedding a lot, and I was really concerned. And then of course I went into Dr. Barry's channel and I looked for, hair loss videos, and I'm like, oh, I had been doing 1 meal a day and not eating sufficient fat and had lost too much weight. And so I decided, okay, I got to get my weight up. And I also noticed too that the walks that I would normally take, which would, our area here is pretty hilly, and some of the hills, I was getting fatigued walking them. When a couple of years earlier, I never experienced fatigue. And I'm like, why am I getting so tired doing the walks that I always do? So my energy levels were dropping, and I think I was losing muscle mass,
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, which is another consideration when you're postmenopausal, and as you mature, you need to really be mindful of your retaining your muscle mass. And sarcopenia, which is muscle loss, is a very common thing, and you can really track in a negative way if you're not mindful and eating enough, eating good quality proteins, and also making sure that you're active and doing an appropriate amount of exercise, that good for your body. So I started increasing my food intake, and at that point, I think it was about January-ish of 2022. I just dropped the vegetables. I didn't want to, take up room in my stomach with vegetables, when I was trying to intentionally to gain weight, and I wanted to enhance my body's ability to build muscle as much as I could, because I knew I had lost a lot. And so I hired a personal trainer to help me get acclimated to the gym. So I started going to the gym. I was very uncomfortable in the weight room. I hadn't worked with weights in a long time, and I just felt like I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't want to hurt myself. So I hired a personal trainer, and I started eating carnivore, and I can't tell you, like, I felt so much better. I mean, I had so many health benefits. They did start with keto and ketovore, and then carried over into carnivore, but I had a major improvement in my gut health. I used to have chronic bloating. I had IBS, and that started back when I was like 15, 16 years old. And I'm thinking now in retrospect, I had a pretty significant gluten sensitivity. I have been tested for celiac disease, and it came back negative, but once I got rid of the grains, I started there was noticeably less bloating. And I would have bloating that was so bad, I looked like I was expecting. And I had stretch marks from my skin stretching to accommodate the bloating and everything. And it's not fun to discuss, but it was painful. And I would have a lot of gut pain. And I've mentioned in a few of the chats before, and it's like I would feel like I had pine cones in my gut. It was awful. It was really painful. Yeah. And a lot of that pain resolved with going like ketovore and then carnivore. So I know there was something else other than just the gluten likely that was bothering me. But nowadays, I get a little bit of bloating like right after I eat, especially I usually eat like a couple times a day. And sometimes after I eat and I've had a really big meal, I'll have a little bit of bloating. Or if I've had a lot of hydration, I'll have a little bit. But it's nothing like that, like the gurgling and the pain, and you just feel so heavy. And Yeah, it was really horrible. So that was a major improvement. I also noticed too that the pain I had been diagnosed as having fibromyalgia back in, it was probably when I was about 29, 30 years old. I was late 20s, early 30s. And dark carnivore. It's true. We got to talk about the poo.
Yes, Charlie, absolutely. And then the joke of never trust a fart. Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, Sana. I know it was just like, yeah, that it's been a major improvement in my life. But with the fibromyalgia, I had a lot of fatigue. I had a lot of neurological symptoms too, tingling in my feet, tingling in my hands, um, pain, pain in certain pressure points in my body. I always felt like I couldn't exercise because if I injured myself, the injury would just be perpetual and I would constantly feel pain where like maybe I strained a shoulder or something like that. And it would just hurt and it would just continue to hurt. But with especially with carnivore, I noticed my pain levels went down enough that I could train and I could actually start pushing myself in the gym where I had never been, because I would always feel like if I had exercised moderately to vigorously, I would feel like I had the flu afterwards.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
wow.
Yeah, and I just thought I felt terrible after exercise. And now I've been able to go into like I can dance, I can hike, I do a lot of weightlifting and stuff. And
That's amazing.
I had I I don't want to say like I was cured because I still sometimes have a little if my sleep gets messed up, I can still feel a little echo of the fibromyalgia stuff. So, but I would say it's mostly in remission. But I had just for me, and I've never been, except for my legs, I've never been a real muscular person, and my arms grew like an inch and a quarter in muscle, and that was like my mind was blown that my body had like I'm 54 and I'm thinking how can it be that like my body can like still grow muscle.
Yeah.
It was amazing to me. So that was like the benefit of carnivore plus having some professional guidance in the gym and getting me incrementally like stronger and stronger and stronger. Because I went in with a goal of like I want to be able to do pull-ups. I want to be able to do that. So that was back in I think it was in 2022. I started training. I can do chin ups this way unassisted. I can do those now, which I could not do.
That's awesome.
And with pull ups, with the wrists like in or hands in this position, I'm a little bit weaker. I still have to use a resistance band, but I can do them. And so my long term goals, I hope I can do them someday without the band. And my trainer's given me some extra exercises to work on different like muscles to help me with accomplish that. So I still have some work to do,
That
but
is fabulous.
it's just like
So, wow.
yeah,
Don't make me talk reference.
That's right.
yeah,
Now, I have a question for you.
sure.
Does your husband eat the same way you do?
He is keto. So I would say he's probably ketovore because he has he generally doesn't eat any vegetables unless maybe we go out somewhere. But he does like strawberries, and so he will have strawberries, and he eats a little bit more of a variety of some of the keto products than I do.
I see the keto chow behind
And you
you.
see that? Yeah.
Yes, the lemon meringue.
There's a story behind that, and my husband had gone through a period last year where his appetite was very low due to pain,
Mhm.
and it was very it was very difficult for him to eat his
Wow.
normal stuff because he loves eggs and he loves sausage and roast and everything. And we ended up getting, I was worried about him, and I thought
Mm,
he's not going to recover properly if he's not getting in, good nutrition. And so I suggested, it's like, wait, why don't we try Keto Chow, because it's keto.
yes.
Yeah, the ingredients are wholesome, and I hear that they taste really good, and they do. So I have added keto to my carnivore. So I guess I'm carnivore plus keto chow. Um, but I have those as a recovery drink after I train.
Now
So
they don't bother your stomach.
I have not noticed any problems with them. Yeah, because I was a little bit hesitant at first. I thought,
Right.
because I think, is it whey? I don't know what the protein source is.
It's whey
It's
protein, but
whey.
there's the core products are dairy free,
I did
like the
try.
chocolate core, the
Mhm.
strawberry cream core, and the vanilla cream core. The
Yeah,
rest of them are a whey protein.
yeah,
So
and
there
I
is
did.
a milk in there.
Yeah, and I did try the beef based ones too, and I got some sample packets. But honestly, it
Mm.
does not seem to. I don't have it every single day, but it doesn't seem to bother me. So I've
That's
I've
great.
joined into the keto chow club.
Yay.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's a little excursion from carnivore. But on most days, I have strictly meat and eggs
Yep.
and butter, and I do use stevia, like if in my tea.
Mhm.
So I know that's, and I drink coffee.
Yeah, but you're doing what works for you because there
Yeah,
are so many on carnivore and pretty much, they eat very clean. And for me, keto chow is still very clean because we definitely know, some of the products that are out there that definitely are not the very
no,
best and have those
no.
keto labels on them, and they are far from what keto truly is.
Oh
Um,
yeah, sauna. There's
so
there's stuff
if
in it.
that's your choice is keto chow and some stevia every once in a while, you are doing amazing. There
That's like
might be
everybody.
so many opinions out there, but
Mhm.
the only opinion that matters is you knowing your own body. You are
Yeah,
having to live
yeah.
with your body day in and day out. So no one is going to know better than you what you truly can incorporate as part of your journey. And for me, when it comes to the keto chow, our kids, I mean, they've been keto over 5 years now, along with my
Mhm.
husband, and they love it. They
Mhm.
love it. Oh my gosh, when I make some keto chow waffles for them, like I'll make a big batch
Ooh,
and they absolutely love it. Like they won't even have like any sugar-free syrup with it. So I don't even buy the syrup anymore.
Right.
Like they're literally happy with just having it like lightly toasted because obviously like I'll make a big batch and freeze it. I'll literally just have to toast it for them and they'll eat it
mm,
as is.
Oh
yeah,
my word, they are so
So
good.
because of just that, it's not, for them because I had asked my husband because obviously, when it comes to kids, they're just like, it tastes good. They don't really go too much into description when it comes to the flavor. But my husband said, it's so unique because he said it's so full of flavor, was his description. It's so full of flavor. And he said, yeah, he's like, it's sweet, but it's not overly sweet.
yeah,
So he
yeah,
said to me, like, truly, like you're saying, for the most part, you are carnivore, but even for someone that's carnivore, you know, once you have that little bit of something like keto chow, you don't want to be like packed, with that sweet kick
Mhm.
because it's a turnoff. Because, when you're staying away, when you're eliminating sugars, you don't want a huge sugar indulgence. You just want to be able to
yeah,
have that, just like that little bit of change of the flavor. And like you said, you're
Mhm.
using it for the benefit, after you have that training time. you're utilizing it, which is great. It's a great way to supplement to get truly that meal in after something strenuous, like
Yeah.
putting time in the gym, because, for a lot of us, once you put that time in the gym, you don't feel like you want to go and have a big meal.
Oh, yeah. It can repress your appetite to a certain degree. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you do feel, or at least my experience is, I feel well after I drink
Mm,
the keto chow. Like it's been noticeable. So,
that's
and
good.
I know that it was a huge help to my husband when his appetite was just basically non-existent.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, yeah, it truly helped him. He's not a big bone broth drinker. Um,
Right.
I like my bone broth.
Me too.
Yeah,
That's what she's got there.
yeah, yeah. But he's not as much of a fan. But we do both like hamburger, and we have different tastes in our steaks. I like the fattier cuts,
Mm,
and Chris is more of like top sirloin, like leaner cuts.
right. Right.
And so if we go to the Brazilian steakhouse, and they serve you up like little slivers of whatever they bring out. If there's something that's like obviously kind of like a big piece of like fat, he will
Hmm.
he'll give that to me, and I'm like, yeah, I'll definitely eat
Yes,
that. Like I have no problem. I eat the fat on
I
ribeyes.
get that bonus as well.
Yeah.
Only
Yeah.
funny enough, well, our 15-year-old, he won't. He does not like, even I've tried crisp it up in the air fryer, he will not partake in the fat. But
Yeah.
me, as well as our newly 7-year-old, he absolutely loves it. He'll ask for it.
Mhm.
He'll be like, "Oh, give me the fat." He's like, "I love the fat." So he absolutely
That's
loves
funny.
it. But that's the thing. I think it's very much because, I've shared before, the younger one, he does not know what it is when it comes to standard American diet. He doesn't. Like, he's only ever known the breastfeeding, and he's only ever known keto. So I don't know if it's kind of like that also kind of being the changing factor between the two of them and their taste buds and all of that. But yeah, just like you're saying, like the top sirloin, like New York strip steak, because that is also, very lean as well. So I definitely get that bonus as well of getting all the fat.
Yeah, it's just delicious, and I think my body was so starved for
Mm,
nutrition. And when I first started eating beef again, I did have some gallbladder pain, and I think it was like what they call the gallbladder sludge. Now, I never
mm,
went to the doctor, so I am kind of
right.
self-diagnosing a little bit here, but the symptoms were kind of in line with how I've heard it described, and that lasted like a month or two or so. I'd get a kind of like a little bit of a twinge, and then it was fine. It was
Hmm.
fine. So, yeah, I like the ribeyes, and if I can get a T-bone, that steak, sometimes they'll have them at Costco. That's great
Right.
too. But I also really love like the lamb shoulder steaks. And
Yes.
Sana, you always have like the
Yes,
best of that
lamb.
lamb,
Oh,
and
I
I'm
love
always like,
lamb.
oh, that looks so good. Oh, like your lamb
Yes, you're speaking
fingers.
one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, I wish I could come over.
I
Yeah.
wish too. I hardly have anyone close by. It would be amazing to have somebody to, share recipes with and ideas with, and kind of being like, "Oh, well, I'll cook this and you cook that, and we'll kind of, meet in the middle and share." And it's difficult because it's kind
Yeah.
of, so many are so close knit, but then a lot of us are just so far spread as well. Just like backstage, we were having a little bit of chatting, and Cindy was telling you about some of the meetup locations. And I know you were saying for some of them, it was like a 6-hour drive for you. So it becomes so difficult. That's why I appreciate, having this virtual forum, because it still kind of
Mhm.
gives you that close knit, that community feeling.
Right.
But I feel the same as you because when I see some cooking, some yummy creations, and you just wish like all of us
Like,
had like
oh,
physically in person, like a
yeah.
community where we all can kind of just, make a huge like Charlie's saying here, a carnivore potluck
Something like
sounds divine.
Yep,
Yes, because
exactly.
literally having imagine like a village of all of us
Right.
being able to share just, what it is to just be on a proper human diet would
Yeah.
be amazing. It would be
I got
absolutely
to meet
amazing.
Charlie
Oh,
last
Oh,
week.
very
oh,
cool.
that's
Yeah,
cool.
we went to that meetup in Indiana, and
Very
Charlie was
cool.
there. Brett was there. Hoosier Carnivore. He was there,
Yes,
so I got
yes,
to
yes.
meet him, as well as seeing some people that I'd already met between Keto Palooza and the other local meetups, and of course Dustin was there, and yeah, Jackie from Jackie's Keto Journey.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
fun.
Very, very
They are
cool.
fun. So if you can swing it, like I
Yes.
said, there's one in Hilliard, Ohio, like I was telling you, March 16th. Might be a little haul. You could always get a room for the night somewhere,
Mm,
but they're a lot of
good
fun.
idea.
You would enjoy it.
Yeah, it
It's a
would
lot.
be nice to have some in-person community.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever met another carnivore in person. Not I think I've run into people that who have tried keto
Mhm.
and I don't think it had worked for them for some reason.
But
And I wa-
if
I
their
was
if their mindset's not in the right place
yeah,
and
Exactly.
they're not ready for it, it's not
yeah,
gonna work.
It's very
Th
much
That's the only
mental. Yes.
thing. You
it
have
really
to be
was.
absolutely ready to change your life and ongoing for it to be
Hmm.
successful.
Yeah. And this has been very much a life-changing experience for me.
Right.
And it's ironic because I've always had a complex relationship with food and
Hmm.
in a negative way because I suffered from eating disorder for many years. That started back in my 20s, and I had anorexia, and
Okay.
it was yeah, it was a very difficult thing
Right.
to try to recover from. And so, you know, the idea of being able to eat until you're full,
Yeah.
to have, just like some of the things Dr. Berry would say initially to me were just like, oh my God. It was like the complete 180 from
Mhm.
like what I
Yeah.
always heard, what I've always experienced. Excuse
Yep.
me. And it was in some ways it was just very freeing too, because I thought, oh my God,
Hmm.
I can eat.
Eat. Exactly.
I can eat as much as I need to. I can
Yep.
have the things that taste the most delicious to me. And it's healthy and it's going to support my health.
Right.
And I can get I can get better doing this. And it was, you
Yeah.
know, I almost can't put it into words. Like, and I truly feel like for me, there was an element of divine intervention,
Hmm.
Yep.
because I had been praying and really wanting to improve my life, my mental health, my physical health. And I really felt like I was at a crossroads, a fork in the road, and I really needed to choose the right path,
Mm-hmm.
and I really felt like it was, some divine intervention that I just happened to be curious about what was on the back of an ice cream packet and thought, what
Right.
is this keto?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
here I am, and it's really hard not to preach carnivore to other people.
Right.
It's really I was a little bit preachy at first, and people would because I had a noticeable weight loss, and people were like, "What did you do? What did you do?" And of course, that I told them, and then I have had some not so bad reactions when I've told
Mm.
other people. Um, you know, strangely enough, the people in my yoga class were actually quite kind about it, and I had expected to get some pushback from my yoga classmates, and they were actually quite interested, and they were kind about it because I told them about just how much better I felt.
That's
So
just
that
it.
kind of answers this question right here.
Yeah,
Susie, did any of your friends or family think you were crazy for cutting out vegetables
yeah, yeah. It
and
took a
only
little,
or mainly eating just meat?
yeah. It took a little bit of time for my husband to really, and I don't know if he's completely convinced yet that this is like a long-term sustainable way to eat, without the vegetables. Because I rarely miss or crave vegetables. Like sometimes maybe a little bit of onion might be nice, but that's about the. I do like a little, like maybe like a bite of sauerkraut or a little pickle, like dill pickle or something. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't crave it. I don't feel like I'm going without. And I never was a huge fan of fruit. And the most I could usually do is like one piece of fruit a day that I was obliged to eat. I felt like when I was doing the
Yeah.
plant-based stuff. So yeah, but I remember when I traveled back to Oklahoma, my father had passed away, and so I was
I'm sorry.
around. Thank you, thank you. It was
No, sorry to hear.
I wasn't prepared for that emotionally, and
Yeah.
it was also strange to travel as a carnivore, and I had to just. I had so little time to plan because we didn't know whether what his lifespan was going to be. It was one of the situations where it could be 3 months, it could be the next day, and so there was no real way to plan. And I had to figure things out pretty quickly, like what to do. And I ended up eating a lot of burger patties, and I brought beef jerky, or not beef jerky. I'm going to forget what the name of it is. It's a South African preparation of beef, but it's like a soft beef jerky.
Mm-hmm.
I'll think about it later. But
That's okay.
biltong,
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
biltong. Anyway, and so we brought packs of that with us, and we would run into Target and buy butter for me. And so it was a little odd for my family members to see me eating that way, and most of them did try to accommodate. Like there was one day I went over to my mother's, and they had ordered pizza, and I basically just had the cheese and the meat on the top of the pizza.
Mm-hmm.
I did a Joe and Rachel,
Right.
what do they call that, like pizza stack or something,
Yeah.
Pizza tower.
Yeah, the pizza tower. So yeah, so I did that, and I only had one person that kind of gave me a little bit of a hard time, and it was like my aunt's friend, and we had gone out to eat, and we were discussing where to go, and I just wanted to make sure there was some place I could go to either get a burger or get some pulled pork or something like that. And we
Right.
had a really funny discussion about like grains. I said, like, I don't eat any grains, and it was kind of like, because kind of grains are good for my gut and this and that. And he's like, oh yeah, and I eat a lot of grains. He kind of pats his belly a little bit, and I'm like, that's what I'm talking about.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's what I was dealing with.
it works for cattle and it works for people too. I didn't say that, but I thought it.
Yep.
Yeah, but he teased me a little bit, and then he made sure to tell the waitress at the restaurant that I only ate meat. Like, okay,
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
but it was fine. And I think I ended up getting like a burger patty, and it was plenty of food for me, and it was. So I ate a lot of hamburger on that trip, but it was fine. It was fine.
That's
I was
always
I was
nice.
really concerned about the only thing that did happen that was a little bit of a negative. And on the way back home, we ordered burgers. I thought we were going to just get the patties, but we ended up getting the buns with the patties. And I just threw the bun away.
Oh.
but I had an anxiety attack like right after that. And I don't know if it was just the overwhelm of just having gone through all of that and the stress of
Mm.
travel, or if there was like the gluten, some gluten exposure a little bit too. And I think
Okay, right.
I want to say Alia West may have had a similar experience where she had gotten some gluten exposure too, and it
Mm.
triggered something, if I'm not mistaken. But
Maybe.
I think my body had gotten so unaccustomed to being around gluten that it was immediately obvious that like something had
Oh
happened,
yeah.
and
Wow.
I
Wow.
had a full out anxiety attack, and it was just that one time. But yeah, so I know now that gluten was definitely a huge part of the problem that I was having, at least with probably some of my mental health stuff as well as my
Mhm.
gut.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So that was like an unintentional, almost like
Right.
yeah,
reintroduction.
yeah,
Wow.
wasn't good. But I mean, I think if you were eating outside of home,
Right.
there's always a chance that that will happen. And I know some
Exactly
people,
right.
it may be the seed oils.
Mhm.
Um, you know, you
Even
might.
then, you gotta pull a Joe and Rachel and tell them you're allergic to this. Can you cook this in butter?
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Because they
Yeah,
will do bend over backward
And that's
not to
very
make you
a lot
sick.
much
of times, yeah.
exactly to really truly
And
say like
hey,
Sydney's saying allergy because
Mhm.
that's actually what we did. Like we just literally went a week ago because our 7-year-old's birthday weekend we went to Legoland and breakfast is included with the resort. So we said, you know what, we're gonna see what they have to offer. And they basically said to us, they were like, yeah, come in, whatever you need. If you have an allergy, we're actually going to have the chef come out and speak with you.
Oh
So it was
wow.
amazing the amount of care they took because we specifically said allergy. They came out and they were asking so many questions, like when it came to the oils, what about butter? And I would, have to tell them like it just has to be real butter. Like it can't be any
mhm,
type of like a
margarine.
margarine type of
Mhm. Yeah,
situation where we're doing like a butter and funky oils or anything like that. And when I tell you, they were so accommodating. So accommodating. And
Mhm.
I think people get nervous too because it's like, you go out and you feel, guilty as if you're going to burden the wait staff, but you have to kind of think of yourself. Like you also deserve to be able to go out, every once in a
That's
while,
right.
because for the most part, I'm a home cook. But definitely there's going to be those times where I want to leave it up to somebody else to cook. We get exhausted in life.
Mhm.
We got so much going on that we just want to be able to still have, you know, that type of indulgence where we can go out, leave the cooking up to somebody else. And it's just a matter of getting yourself comfortable to ask because you will be very shocked of how accommodating so many restaurants are now because a lot more people are coming over to this side of discovering what
Right.
low carb is, what true low carb is, what truly keto is, what proper human diet even is. So it's becoming so much more common that, like, I'm even seeing there's a lot of restaurants now that they're actually having a separate keto menu now
Oh
to just be able
wow.
to like instantly accommodate. I know like our local Longhorn, I had seen that they actually have like a separate menu. And they don't have too many choices. I think there was maybe like 3 or 4 different options on there, but that's still huge. That's 3 to 4
Mhm.
dinners that they did not personally have catered to this community before. So even 3 or 4 dinners, I mean, I'm sure if they start to see a lot more popularity, who knows? They might expand from there.
Right.
But it's one of those things. Just ask because very much so that's what you got to say it's an allergy. And think of it this way, like if you basically have a good experience, and I know Cindy's mentioned it before, When her and Brian go to Red Lobster, they have a particular waiter that they deal with that kind of knows the drill of, what they want to keep away from, don't bring the biscuits kind of situation.
Oh,
But
because
that's the
those are
thing.
to die for.
But that's the thing,
those,
like if
those
someone is
Cheddar Bay biscuits.
accommodating like that,
Mhm.
it's making Cindy and Brian want to support going to Red Lobster even more because they're accommodating for them.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
they,
like think
Oh,
of it
yeah.
that way too. Like you're also, kind of putting out that chance of seeing if the restaurant is going to be accommodating for you. It's allowing you to have a list of what your safe places are, what your go-to places possibly could be.
Mhm.
So take the chance, see how accepting they are of what, you need to stay away from.
Yep. That's like Sonny's Barbecue. I don't know if they have
Mm,
them where you are, uh, Susie.
I don't think so. I haven't heard of them.
They are so good. They will sell their meats by the pound. And they have like pulled
yeah.
pork and pulled brisket or
Oh,
sliced pork, sliced brisket. They have ribs, they have chicken, they have all this stuff, smoked turkey. And I will go and get 3 meats and get like a quarter pound of smoked turkey or a quarter pound of those sliced pork because the pulled pork's going to have the barbecue sauce on it.
Right, right.
And the same way with brisket. They charge a little more for the brisket, like $1.50 more, whatever it is. I don't know. But they also have a pick, it's called Pick of the Pit, 2 meats or 3 meats. And you can choose any of the meats on the menu.
Mm,
And they come with a couple sides. And it also comes with garlic bread. We just tell them no bread.
hmm.
And they'll have like green beans or broccoli. They have side salads, which are really good just without the croutons. Sometimes we'll have those kind of things. My husband, being a type 1 diabetic, he's so good lately about checking labels. And I mean, we just went to Costco
That's
today and he's off on his own and he's reading these labels. And and our neighbor went with us. And I said, look at this. This is why we do this. Not just for
right.
good.
me, but keeping my husband's blood sugars under control to
Oh,
where his
absolutely.
A1C has gotten as low as 6.1 for a type 1 diabetic.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, this is why we do this.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
it's gotten
Life
to the point
depends
where
on
I
it.
don't even have to do it. He'll read the labels. He's like, nope, we can't have that. And he'll put it back and I'll be across the store.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, this is good. This is good.
My husband has gotten to where he will have me double check if he will say he wants like like chicken sausage or something like that.
Mhm.
He'll look at it and then he will have me double check it just to make sure there isn't like dextrose and I can tell you how many times like it's like your eye just skips over it or something. And I'll look and I'll look again. I'm like, oh my God, they've added sugar to this, or they've added some kind of seed oil, and you have to check the ingredient if you're buying anything packaged.
Yep.
Yeah, you
Mm.
have to be so
You
careful.
absolutely need to, especially when it comes to your common go-to products. You need to
Yeah,
consistently keep checking because
yeah.
they are starting to make, unfortunately, and it's ridiculous because to, me, it's marking mistakes because when you have something good, when you have a good product, why are you going to go and change it and put a wonky ingredient in it?
Oh, I
Like
Absolutely.
for
know.
what reason? So sometimes there's such clean products and we, get in the habit of always purchasing these products. And then lo and behold, there's that one time we look at the ingredients and we're like, what? Since
And they
when did they
change
start
it.
putting this in that?
Yeah,
So
we've
it's
experienced that too.
unfortunate. We gotta stay vigilant at reading the ingredients, even for those go-to products.
Yeah, it's
We're
true.
going to show some love to Deb. This is Cindy's sister. I've been
Oh, hi,
listening to the
Deb.
conversation, ladies. You mentioned Sunny's my KY favorite.
Yeah, she let me know she's coming up the next time, the end of this month. She said, Monday night, we're going to Sunny's. I'm like, okay, no problem. I'm ready
So now
anytime.
the talking of it, you got her mouth watering now.
I
But
know. I'm
they
like,
are very
oh, I'd
accommodating.
like to have some
Yeah, that sounds
brisket. Oh,
amazing. That
But
definitely
they are
sounds
very good.
amazing.
They're very accommodating. So but like Asana was saying, any place you go, Like our
Mm.
neighbor was so concerned about asking us to go out to eat. She said, "Where can you go?" I said, "Anywhere, because we can
Right.
find something that we can have on anybody's menu. It doesn't matter if it's fast food or if it's a Chinese place or if it's Mexican or whatever it is.
Exactly.
We can find something that we can have that's not going to hurt us. We
Right.
know how to order, and that's it." So she's like, "Are you serious?" Like today, she went with us and we went to Frisch's Big Boy, and I got a super big boy and 2 eggs without the bread, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And so I got the burger patties that came with a little bit of lettuce and their tartar
Mhm.
sauce, which is so good, a few pickles, and I got 2 eggs with it.
You say?
It was fine. She
And
said,
that's definitely not deprivation.
"No." And she
No.
got a grilled cheese sandwich and fries. It's all
Oh,
good, that's the way that's her choice.
Exactly.
And Brian, he got an omelet without the bread or the potatoes or,
Yeah.
the stuff that comes with it. He just got the omelet. So, we
Mhm.
all three had something different. And I said, "This is what I'm talking about," to her. I said, "We can order anything, you know? So it was good.
yeah, and that
And
just
that's the amazing. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Susie.
I was just gonna say, and that should increase your confidence if you have to travel, you
Hmm.
know?
Absolutely.
And that was definitely something that was anxiety producing when we had to suddenly just pack up and take a country trip, you
Yeah,
know?
we had
But
to do that in October. My husband's mother passed away,
oh,
Right.
I'm sorry.
and we had to go up to New Hampshire for the services and stuff.
Yeah.
But I had the night before we knew we were leaving. I made up a bunch of bacon, some hard
Yep.
boiled eggs. I mean,
Mhm.
all that stuff travels well.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
we just took it, and we know that we can go out and not a problem. It,
My husband was got a real giggle. There was a someone posted it was like a short video short of
Mhm.
purse bacon, and like she
Yeah.
said, I'm a carnivore mom, and she opened up her purse and took out, and it had a little Ziploc, and it was like labeled purse bacon. It was
Yeah.
he's like, purse bacon, what is purse bacon? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
The purse bacon, the baggy bacon.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's great.
The stuff that we would have thought was so bizarre before, and now it's just a way of life. It's
I
it's just
know,
such normalcy
I know.
now. But I
Yeah.
just I think it's beautiful that, both of you shared stories of what it was to go out to eat with
Mhm.
others that are not doing this way of eating. And I think that's so important. It's not really about feeling like you have to surround yourself or even isolate yourself from family or
Mhm.
friends that are not doing this way of eating. It's about making sure they just respect your choice
Mhm.
is really what it comes down to. Don't feel like you have to basically be the poster child to force anyone and being like, oh, I need to go out and eat this way and you should be doing it too. No, it's about just enjoy the company.
That's right.
Enjoy the
And we
company.
do. We
Exactly.
do a lot.
That's what you
This
gotta
lady,
focus on. Don't make
right.
it about the food. Like Cindy said, you can literally find anything that is proper human diet, let's just say, on practically
Absolutely.
any menu. You just have to really kind of look at the ingredients. If, there's any sauces or anything like that, those sort of things you got to pay attention to. But don't feel like you got to make it all about the food. Don't feel like
Mhm.
you have to isolate yourself. Don't make yourself feel like, oh, I'm having to be so restrictive um, with your choices. You definitely don't have to be. You
Right.
really just have to explore and be willing, like Cindy's saying, do your research, like know before you go. And very much like she said, when her and Brian had to travel, they planned, what they were taking with them. But it's very much so that you can also look up in advance what places are nearby. Check out their menus. Like so many places now,
Oh,
we're in 2024. So many places have their menu available online that you can almost plan ahead for, what restaurants or places you want to partake in. Because even like Cindy mentioned, she went somewhere fast food, and you definitely can make fast food truly work for
Mhm.
you. There's a
I
lot of
mean,
fast food
even if there's a
places that are
even like
amazing options.
even like McDonald's, and there might be
Yeah,
seed oils in the burgers, but that's not the
right.
worst thing that you can have.
Exactly.
A little bit
Exactly.
that might be on the burger, you
Right.
know, the worst thing you could do is eat the bread.
Mhm.
yes,
Let's face it, it's
exactly.
like end up on the meat
Right.
or the cheese they use on the patties. Somebody
Yes.
commented on one of my videos, "That's not good cheese." And I'm like, "You know what? I don't care because it doesn't bother me.
Bother
I'm
you.
gonna eat
Doesn't
it.
bother
Exactly.
you, yeah.
I like cheese." It's like, "Hello,
Exactly.
I don't
And
care."
that's the thing. It's very much a learning experience.
Mhm,
So even like you're mentioning, like McDonald's, you have to
mhm,
just try, try it
mhm.
out. If you find it cause you any irritation, guess what? That's one that you're putting on I cannot go list.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah,
But it's very
exactly.
much about experimenting, just
Mhm.
like you have mentioned, Susie, like, throughout your journey, you've experimented.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And I recently had an interesting experiment with turkey, and I was in the habit of occasionally buying turkey wings, which I loved, and
Mm,
I had bought some from our normal grocery store. They were on sale, and I made them, and I got the worst indigestion afterwards.
oh
Oh,
gosh,
And I
no.
yes.
had even had some reflux with it, and it took me a couple of days before I felt well. I'm like, why in the world would that have made me feel so unwell? And I was
Mm,
talking to Lynn, who's midlife carnivore, about, and she has some interesting information about histamine reactions and how they can present if you're on a carnivore diet. And I asked her, I thought, like, could it be a histamine thing? And she said, well, it could be, or it could be that the meat was actually
mm,
old, and
yes.
it may have been the latter. And I've also, so I'm going to be more particular when I buy turkey again,
Mhm.
you know, and pay
Right.
more attention to the freshness of it, and or maybe just
Mhm.
get it frozen and defrost it or something.
Yeah.
But I've also done the experiments with dairy too, and like the cottage cheese did not go well. Um,
Mhm.
and Usually with the heavy cream, I can only do that for a few days before I start to get the like a rash, kind of like
Mm,
skin
Wow.
irritation on my face.
right, right.
Yeah, so I know, like, I can indulge a little bit around the holidays with the heavy cream, but I have to, on a daily basis. I don't add heavy cream into my way of eating anymore.
Right.
I wish I could do yogurt every single day because I
Right.
love Greek yogurt. It's just so wonderful, but I can do a couple of weeks and then it starts to bother me. So yeah,
Have
but
you tried making it yourself?
not for several years. I went through a phase where I was trying to do a lot more like home cooking.
Mhm.
I was making bread because at that time I was eating like the plant forward diet, and I was making bread, and I would make yogurt occasionally. There's like a crock pot method, and
Yes, yes.
I've made yogurt, and I have made paneer, which is a type of well, yeah,
I'm part Indian, yes.
so you know what paneer is, but yes, Indian cheese, and you can cut it and cube it and fry it, and it's so good. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
it's
yeah.
amazing.
So I was making paneer occasionally too, but I haven't done that recently. But that's a thought. You know what? I know
Yeah,
Joe and
because I'm
Rachel.
just
They've got
wondering.
they've got a good recipe on how to make basically
Right.
carb free
Yeah.
full fat yogurt. But I think the type of milk that they use is like a special type of, like, maybe is it
It's
Fair,
just an ultra pasteurized Fairlife.
Fair life, yeah.
Fair life. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, but any ultra pasteurized milk
pasteurized, right?
can be used.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've made it with I think we've gotten it at Aldi's before. It's an organic.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh.
we don't even go with the full fat. We go with the lower fat. And yeah, as long as it says ultra pasteurized,
Hmm.
and you use a yogurt like Fahe
Mm-hmm.
to mix with it,
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
it turns out fine. My husband likes it. I'm not a big yogurt fan, but
Yeah.
he likes it when I make it. So
Yeah, because I would be
yeah, he
curious
makes it in the
because I
Instant Pot.
know that's what some have done is to either make like the homemade yogurt or even like homemade kefir. Um
Oh yeah.
and some
Yeah.
have noticed a difference where, the store-bought stuff ended up affecting them, but the homemade didn't. So
Mhm.
I don't know if it's just like the difference of like the cultures is what it is. But really truly, like some they don't. So I mean, if your husband, if you're gonna literally have somebody there that is going to be able to partake, if you do like a little bit of a test, which
Yeah.
is a small portion for yourself. But yeah, I would be curious to see. That might be a really good
Yeah.
experiment for you to see.
And
I
then
need
there's
to
the yogurts like Neely makes from out of the Super Gut book by Dr.
Yeah.
Davis,
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Wendy makes it on Loving It on Keto. Yeah, they with the probiotics in it to help with your gut.
Right. Yes,
I
yes,
mean,
yes.
there's those too. I've never tried those, but
and fermented foods are supposed to be really good for the gut.
mhm.
Yeah, so maybe there is something that goes on when it's mass produced and sold in the store that like there's just something that's a little bit off.
Yeah, because they say, with it being packaged and then on top of being packaged, it's going through shipping time frame, it's going through shelf life, you
Mm-hmm.
know, that could be stuff that very well could change, the cultures and the properties to it. And, you just never know. You just never
Mhm.
know. But if it's something you miss, it could be worth experimenting and trying to see. Because I would definitely be curious to see how your body does with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Because
I
I'm
said,
all
if it's
about
something
the experimenting.
yep, and it like she said, if it's something your husband likes too,
Oh
if it
yeah.
does bother you, then he'll eat it.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
you
No,
know.
you can add it to his smoothies and yeah.
He can mix the keto chow in it
Get it
too
out.
and
Yeah.
do like a frozen yogurt.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Oh,
good.
Yeah.
If you
wouldn't that be
take
good?
the
No.
yogurt and just mix in a spoon or two of keto chow,
Uh-huh.
it's good.
Yeah. As
It's good.
is, or like a frozen yogurt or something. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Now we've
Y'all are
seen
giving
him
me good
earlier.
ideas.
We've seen him earlier walk around behind you.
No, yeah. I told him, I said, I don't have a way to blur my background, so if you need to come through, just be
But
Oh
prepared.
no, it's okay. This
he could
is this
always
is
say
real
hi
life.
too. He could always stop and say hi.
This is real
Absolutely.
life. We very much, we're so flexible with,
Yeah,
there's
this
gonna be
door right
stuff in the
here,
background.
that goes out into my house. At any given time, my husband will pop in. I
Oh,
don't care. I said, just come in and
No.
say hi.
yeah. Well, I'm keeping it real because you can see my wonderful,
Hey,
my wonderful.
this is my husband's craft area right here where he works on
Oh,
models and stuff. And
oh, how
behind me
neat.
over here is my rebounder and our
Oh,
TV. Whoops, our TV over here. This is our computer room, his craft room. It's like, you know,
all purpose.
Yeah.
that's right. So he has a computer right over there when he's here. It's like right next to mine. And, it is what it is. I don't go for
Mhm.
I don't like those black backgrounds because when you move,
Yeah.
it's like weird. It's
Oh,
really
yeah, you
weird.
can kind of see a
You
little bit of
become
an
like
outline, and
right, or
you're
like a
like, "Who
floating
is
head.
that?"
I'll show you. I'll set one. I'll see if I can set one and I'll show you.
my gosh.
There we go.
Oh,
Now, when I move, see,
yeah. I
I
guess
can't. I hate it. I hate it. I just think they're so crazy.
I
Oh my
like your real
gosh.
life background.
Yes, I do too.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah,
all what it's about, just keeping it real.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I have
Absolutely.
kitchen equipment that I may never use. Like I have colanders. Although
Mm.
if I do yogurt, I'll need some strainers. So maybe I will use those again. Because I'm thinking, will I ever use some of this stuff again? I don't know. Like I don't wash vegetables anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
if you're talking a fine strainer for yogurt, that's one
Hmm.
thing. But a regular strainer is not going to work for yogurt.
Yeah.
No, because
I
you
had
So
need
you have
more
to get
so
a
like a
yogurt
yeah.
cheese
strainer.
net.
I had
Yeah,
to
like
use
a
the
cheese
like
net
a
situation.
cheesecloth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like what is it,
Hmm.
Rachel? What did she call it?
I
The
don't
nut milk bag. The
oh,
nut milk bag.
It's better you say it than
Oh my
me.
God, that was so funny.
oh
That was
my gosh.
hysterical.
Yes, yes.
She's a
Well,
riot.
Of all the ideas of names, oh my goodness. That
That's
one, she's so creative and so
she is.
bubbly.
She's
I
just funny.
know.
She is funny. I hope they're doing well at the RV thing.
Yes.
I'm
Yes, hopefully.
hoping that they're on top and they're defeating their competitors. I was going to say their foes, but they're not foes. They're not foes. They're competitors.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm dying of curiosity. I really am. It's like,
Yep.
oh,
And it's not going to air till May, so we
I
won't know anything.
know. I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thankfully, here in Florida, we're having really good weather right now. We went
Oh,
through
good.
some really chilly temperature, rain. So thankfully for this event happening for them, I'm so happy for them that they got good weather right now.
Yes.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
That's awesome.
We've had some nice weather here, and I actually saw honeybees today, which I was really shocked to see. But
No.
there are a few trees they're witch hazels, but they're early blooming, and I've seen them bloom as early as like New Year's Day, which is really exceptionally early for anything around here in Pennsylvania to bloom. But I went out today for my walk and I walked by one of these trees and I saw honeybees. I have a nice semi professional camera, and I often will take pictures of nature when on my walks, and I took some pictures of them. And so I just thought, I don't know that I've ever seen a honeybee out this early. But
Wow.
we've had some like 60-degree weather, and it's been wonderful. Of course, it's going to cool back down, it
Yep.
always does. But yeah, it's not spring yet.
It's like here in Kentucky where it's supposed to be this week.
Oh, here we have
Hello,
Robin joining
Robin.
us. Hi, ladies. Sorry I'm
Hi,
late.
Robin.
No, that's absolutely okay. We are so happy for any little bit that anyone could stop by. So welcome, welcome. We hope you had a wonderful week. Susie, you have just an absolutely amazing journey. What
Yes.
are your plans ahead? Do you have any set goals ahead, or what are your kind of plans in general for what's in store for you for ahead?
Well, most of my goals, as they are around physical fitness, and
Mhm.
having had fibromyalgia and that struggle for so many years, and having like really lost faith in my body's ability to recover and to exercise. I thought basically my exercising days were pretty much over. And just to be able to move my body has been such a joy for me. And I want to continue on my physical fitness. And I do want to continue trying to build up muscles, especially in my upper body, because I'd lost so much. Um, I have a chronic knee problem. I have what I believe it's a torn meniscus in my right knee. So I have to be very careful with my
Mm.
training and in the dancing with my right knee. And so right now I'm kind of playing around with like how much weight can I do, how many times can I train, like you know, there he goes. Um, so basically my goals are like I want to see if I can get my legs stronger.
Mm. Mhm.
And I had been doing a little bit of sprinting uh, in the warmer months of last year. Um, and it was irritating my hips, so I've kind of like put that aside. But I may want to try it out again if I feel like my energy levels are such that I have the extra energy to like just run. And
Right, right.
Mhm.
so I may try that again, but I still do want to be able to do a good proper pull up without assistance with my the hands in this position. So without injuring myself. So
That would be good
yeah, so
without
that
injuring yourself.
yeah, without injuring myself. That's the one. That's the probably the physical fitness part. In terms of diet, I feel like I have probably gone back into having a little too much stevia. I did like a week or two where I just didn't have any at all, and I
Mhm.
switched from my Redmond's Relight Pina Colada, which is
Oh, okay.
like my favorite, to the unflavored. And I've been thinking, I may need to go and do another like a few weeks without the stevia and just kind of do a little bit of a reset there. The other thing is coffee, and I know a lot of people have there's a lot of conversation in the carnivore and keto community about like the coffee. Should we drink it? Should we not drink it? um
Dr. Barry drinks coffee.
I yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's like Nisha drinks coffee. Come
Oh
Yeah,
on.
yeah, definitely, yeah,
Some of these
yeah,
diehard carnivores are going to pick at everything you do. It doesn't matter what it is, and
yeah,
it's
hmm
ridiculous.
yeah.
yeah.
Because he even experimented with
Absolutely ridiculous.
decaf and even going the decaf route. He said, is it probably better on his body? Yeah, we always could do better. There's
Oh
always room
yeah,
for
obviously,
improvement,
yeah,
but was it like a substantial like difference? No. I mean, it was not enough for him
mhm.
to fully stay away from coffee. Um,
Yeah, I remember he was trying to do like mint tea or something
yeah.
like that. I remember one time he said, "I'm having a cup of mint tea," and I'm like, "This is weird." I like mint, but I like mint tea. But
Yeah.
I had something interesting happen. And this has actually happened to me a number of times where I have had coffee and I've started to itch. My scalp
Okay.
will itch, my face will itch, and then it'll go away. And I'm like, what's I don't know what's going on there. And I talked to midlife carnivore Lynn again, and she said, sometimes the coffees have mold. And what I might do is see if I stop the coffee that I'm getting at work, if the itching like goes away, if it's the work coffee, the workplace coffee versus
Right,
the
right.
coffee at home. But I may play around a little bit with the coffee, but I still will. If I do that, I will probably still drink my tea because I drink both tea and coffee.
Yeah.
I'm from the South. I like my tea. So well so that's kind of like where I'm at right now. It's just like little
Mhm.
tweaks. I'm pretty
Yeah.
happy with
Right.
my food. I have gone since I started training with heavier weights. um, I am finding that doing one meal a day is just not cutting it anymore. I will get the unflavored relight. Yeah, I was trying to do OMAD, 3-4 times a week, and I
Right.
was finding like by the end of the day, I was hungry. I needed to eat again. So I think my OMADing days might be over for now, at least while I'm going through this period of still trying to build muscle and
Right.
doing heavier weights.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's very much about listening to your body
yeah,
because I would
Mhm.
say when I first, like you said, I was shocked too hearing Dr. Barry, say, "Oh, eat till you're comfortably stuffed."
yeah,
You almost kind of want to get kind of like a Thanksgiving stuff, but you'll know if you overdo it. Like you'll know if you literally take that one additional bite and that kind of puts you overboard. Like you will learn what your body truly sees as what comfortably stuffed truly is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, literally, I think people get fearful in the beginning. And it's like, truly don't, listen to your body, trust your body, because you do go through an adjustment. Because, like, just like you're saying, once I literally did like my 60 days of beef, butter, bacon, and egg, around that mark, like, you literally, you really truly know what your hunger cue truly is. Because you get to a point where it's almost like you feel like you're saying, like, you want to do OMAD, just one meal a day, but then there'll be certain days where you feel like you want more than one meal.
Mhm.
It's very much about listening to your body. I think the important thing is for people not to push themselves into intermittent fasting, or, not to push themselves. Oh, well, everybody else is doing one meal a day and getting such benefits and, such goals being reached. No, you gotta do what is right for your body, especially for someone first starting off. Get yourself acclimated, use that benefit of getting yourself comfortably stuffed, because your body will start to really truly feel very stuffed, just basically on just like the meat alone. Like, just
Oh,
like you were
yeah.
saying, it was very easy for you not to incorporate, any sides anymore, because just having just the protein, just having the meat, that was more than enough for you.
Oh, yeah. And if I can tell if I am at my limit of what my body wants in terms of protein, I'll just stop.
Right.
I'll just be like, and it's like I'll be fine. Bite,
Yeah.
bite, bite, stop. You know,
Yeah.
and it's true. And for a while I was kind of worried because I thought, you know what, I just don't feel like I'm ever hungry on
Yeah.
carnivore. Like, where's my appetite? I like, what, is something wrong? Is something going on with my
Yeah.
ghrelin or my leptin or something? And it was just like I was eating what I needed to eat for that time, for that level of activity. But now that I've increased and I'm
Hmm.
doing heavier weights, I can't. I have genuine hunger, and,
Right.
and
Right.
it's like, so, usually I'll have like a large meal in the morning, and then
Yeah.
if I used to never ever eat like past like 3 or 4 o'clock. Like, I just would not do it. And now sometimes if I come home from work and I'm hungry, I'll eat again. Because I'm like,
Exactly.
I'm not at a point where I need to do fasting or ignore my hunger signals or anything like
Yeah.
that. And if I had, if I could do over my carnivore journey, probably what I would have done, like just what you said, Sana, is I would have transitioned and I would have eaten like I was used to eating twice a day. I would have continued to just eat twice a day. And then if my body didn't need the second meal, I would have gone to OMAD instead of
Right.
really being very like stern about my OMAD. And that's how I ended up losing too much weight. That plus,
Yes.
you know, I was under eating and not eating enough fat. So
Absolutely.
I lost some hair that I didn't need to
Right.
lose, and I lost
Well,
some weight I didn't need to lose. But
unfortunately, that hair thing goes along with losing weight. I
Mhm.
mean, I had
Yeah.
gastric bypass
yeah.
in 2007, and I got 2 bald
Yeah.
patches here
Oh,
from
Yeah,
losing it.
especially the
I mean, it's
the
slowly
rapid
coming
weight
back,
loss.
oh,
but
Yes.
wow.
with keto,
Yeah.
I my hair is so thin on the top. I mean, you can see my scalp.
Oh,
You
goodness.
can't
Yeah.
tell it here. But if that's the worst thing that happens,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got healthier, I feel
Mhm.
better. Hair is just whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like that's why they make wigs. If somebody's that
Well, mine
seriously.
eventually I don't have terribly thick. I have poof. My hair's poofy, but it's not
Mhm,
really that thick. It's aerodynamic. But it did grow back like real like, and for a while it was a
mhm.
very annoying because I had like, I think it was Keisha that, or not, or Nisha that talked about, like, she had tufts of hair that were coming out too, when she went through
Mhm.
her healing journey and her Hashimoto
Yes,
started
the
to
baby
reverse.
hairs.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and her hair started growing back in. Mine was doing the same thing, and it was
Yep.
like
I
it
have them
was like,
too.
oh, Sonia, like the baby hairs that grow up
Yeah,
here. It was like,
Yep.
when are they going to be long enough to pull back? It felt,
exactly.
yeah, it was. But my hair was it was continuing to grow in length. I got it cut recently. I had probably maybe 8 to 10 inches cut off of it.
Wow.
But yeah, but when it was like really getting thinner, I actually did go to the salon. I got 13 inches cut off of it, and that's the picture that you have in your thumbnail. I was literally at the beauty shop
Oh, wow.
because I donated the hair. But yeah, but you know what? Yeah, you're right, Cindy. It's like hair is your body doesn't prioritize hair.
Right.
And sometimes when you do go through the fat loss or the body recomposition, the weight
Mhm.
loss, you will shed. Yeah, but I think that was probably my one, the biggest mistake that kind of led to maybe a little bit more like muscle loss was just being too stern about my OMAD, and I was hoping it would also contribute to my knee healing up, and I did.
Right.
At one point, I did a 3 day fast. Well, sorry, 69-hour fast, almost 3 days
Ooh.
fast. Yeah, and I was thinking, I want to get my knee better, and
Mhm.
I don't really think it did anything for my knee. It was an interesting experiment though, and I had crazy energy. I was like, kind of almost wired when I did that.
Right.
I don't think I'm going to repeat that. I don't feel like fasting right now is like
Yeah.
anything I
Now,
need to do.
if you think you have a meniscal tear, I don't think anything you do is going to help. Is going to heal that.
No, it's
I mean,
probably
it
gonna.
might make a pain a lot lesser because I've had
Yeah.
one in the past, and that
Oh, did you? Oh,
they had to repair it. For me, they had to
yeah,
repair it because it's rough.
yeah. I would say, and Robin is asking about the
Have you
knee.
had a follow-up if it did
Um, I
heal?
did. I did not go back to the doctor after I talked to him, but I would say the pain, like Cindy
Mhm.
mentioned, it is much more manageable.
Okay.
And I have to do this sort of dance of like, you know, do the weights one day, do the Zumba the next day, rest 2 days, and I have to give my body
Mhm.
time and have to be careful about the
Right.
surfaces that I'm jumping on and that sort of thing. But it used to be like it hurt every single day.
Oh
And
yeah,
now it's a little bit more like I will have days where I have little to no pain, which it definitely is an improvement. And the
that's
knee is
amazing.
and the knee is stronger. I can
Mm,
do
wow.
more with confidence. And
Yeah.
so I would say the integrity of the knee is better, but it will probably and I've opted not to have surgery. I'm trying to like keep my knees integrity together as long as I can. But if it reaches a point where I can't dance and I can't train then
Right.
or
Yes.
walk, then I'll have to do something about it.
Right. Well, this was for me. This was way before keto.
Mhm.
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
way before.
yeah.
And I was in so much pain. It hurt to walk around. I was like, I got to have something done because I was working and.
Well,
So they repaired the meniscus, and then years later, still pre keto, I've had both of my knees replaced since then.
okay.
So
Yeah.
you know, but my knees were bone on bone. There's no healing from that. It was like even after keto, if I had not done the surgery, there might have been a slight possibility I could have gotten away without it. But at one point, your knee bends this way. At one point, my knee bent backward.
Mm.
Oh, goodness.
And I
Oh,
was like, okay, there's nothing that's going to help that, you know. It's
Mhm.
like there
Yeah,
was
Right,
nothing that was going
right.
to help that because there
yeah.
was no cartilage in there
There's
to
nothing left.
help it.
Yeah,
It was the most horrifying pain I'd ever been through that
Yeah.
day. I was
yeah,
like,
Unfortunately,
oh,
that's just the way, it is sometimes. You don't want to have the loss of your quality of life that
right.
if really that's what you're left with is to, go through surgery, it is what it is. We all
Mhm.
have to be able to remember, this is life. We
Mhm.
can try the best that we can to, try to avoid, like Robin's saying, I don't want to have surgery either.
I get
We
it.
do the
Yeah,
best we can because, surgery could very much, be a scary thing. Because we hope it's going to make things better. But sometimes, the recovery you have to go through, you got to feel like a lot worse before you're able to experience the better days. So
Well,
yeah,
it,
I will say
yeah.
this: after after having lost 100 pounds,
hmm
having both knees replaced,
right.
I no longer have arthritis in my back.
hmm
Oh,
And
thank goodness.
20 years later, I went back to bowling.
Yeah.
Something
Oh,
I quit
wow.
because of my knees 20 years ago.
You
And
say.
I bowl 3 leagues a week and I'm loving it. And I have so much fun. And I feel like, thankfully, because I had my knees taken care of, I can do this again. So there's that. Just really be careful with your knees because,
Yeah,
when they hurt, your whole body hurts.
yeah, yeah.
Been there, done that. It's like, it's just
It's
horrible.
it's tough. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. The day that I tore my knee, I that was like the only day I'd taken like
Mm,
ibuprofen, and I haven't taken anything for pain like since then. That was, I think, let's say, like about 10 years ago or so. And I was just like, I'm even with the fibromyalgia pain, like I stopped trying to address it with
mm.
like over the counter like stuff. And, I just dealt with it, you know,
I
but
was telling I
it,
was
it,
telling Sana,
it is
go
really
ahead.
painful. Yeah.
I was telling Sana backstage that I had been having trouble with my left foot for like since November.
Mhm.
And I finally went to a podiatrist
Mm-hmm.
and I've had a hairline fracture in my foot,
Oh
both
no.
3 days a week, and babying it at the same time. And the only thing I have taken is some Neperson over the counter for inflammation. And I've been icing it. I've been still bowling
Mhm.
and it's healing on its own. The doctor did x-rays and she said, "You have had a hairline fracture here that is healing so nicely. Just do whatever you're doing."
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And I'm like, "Okay."
Proper nutrition.
That's right.
That's the
Seriously,
thing.
you're giving your body what it needs to heal.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because imagine, what you would have endured if you
Oh,
were not on this way of eating.
my foot would have been up forever and that would have been
Oh,
it,
Yeah.
or it
yeah.
would have had, in a
Inflammation.
boot
Yeah.
or
Yeah. You
Oh.
would have sought medical help a lot sooner
Mhm.
instead
oh yeah.
of, over 3 months later.
Oh, there were times like after bowling, I could not hardly walk. But I'm like, I just got into doing this in the fall, in September. I'm not stopping. It's like when I first started, I had pulled something behind here and I
Oh.
could feel it pull. But it's like I went to the doctor and she's like, "Well, whatever, whatever," sent me for x-rays. There was no tear. And I'm like, "I'm going to continue." She said, "Maybe you shouldn't bowl for a while." I said, "Listen, I am going to bowl. I wear a little patch back there. I'll take
hmm
something for the, not for the pain, but for the inflammation that causes the pain.
Right. Right.
Yep.
But I'm not going to stop bowling." And it worked
hmm
itself out. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was
I've
it. It was
I've
fine.
had I had like something neurological that was going on this side with
Mhm.
it. It felt if you know if you've had nerve pain, you're familiar. Like it feels sometimes like heat and hot
Yes.
and sharp,
Mhm.
you know. And I was having that back here, and I don't know what it was, and it went away.
Yep.
Yeah, but it was like I was concerned at first. I thought, oh no, like is there something going on with my neck, whatever? And it went away, and I think in my case, I probably had some oxalate stuff going on too.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know if either of you had any oxalate dumping, but I've had some like recurring some skin stuff going on my legs,
Mhm.
and comes and goes. And I probably shouldn't be drinking tea because I know that that's probably not helping any. But oh, Robin's saying that
Yep.
her parents are avid bowlers too.
Robin, I started bowling when I was 9 years old.
Mhm.
And I quit in my 40s because of all the problems with my knees and my back. And I just
Right.
decided, I turned 65 last May, and I looked at my husband. I said, I want to give it a try because I feel better than I've felt in so many years.
Yeah.
And it's like, let's do it. And he's never bowled this kind of bowling because he's from New England. We live in Kentucky. And he's always done candle pin bowling. If anybody here is from New England or around New England will know what it is. So for him to do this, it was something totally new for him. And he's
Yeah.
having a ball, and we just have so much fun. He bowls twice a week, but I joined a women's league also. They needed bowlers, and our neighbor's the one that got me into it. She kept putting a thing out there, and I'm like, I've been wanting to try it. So when we went home, now my kids both, I have two sons in their 40s, and they both average like 220, 230. They're really, really good bowlers. We all went bowling one day when we were up there in October, and they were just excited to bowl with me because they grew up in the bowling alley watching me bowl and then starting to bowl. So when I had to stop, I had been in a league with my son at the time, my younger son, and they're like, Mom, I'm so glad you're doing this again. And they're just excited.
Oh, Cindy, that's
So yeah,
wonderful.
it's fun. It's a lot
That's
of
so,
fun.
it's almost like you got a second chance.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All of this stuff that, we're mentioning, it's truly like we have just like a newfound, kind of like a rebirth almost.
And
It's just, it's huge.
I know she's probably tired of hearing it, but it's thanks to my sister Debbie, who's in the chat. She's the one that got me started on keto.
Oh,
So yes,
that's
I have her to
wonderful.
thank for all this. Yeah.
And that makes it so special. Because
Hmm.
now you both have, you already have a bond as sisters,
Oh
but
goodness.
then,
Yes.
especially having this bond, because they
Mhm.
do have a group chat, they do to hold each other accountable. Um, and it's huge, to have that type of support, but then to have that support be family is just, it's huge. That's really huge. So, oh,
Yeah.
here she is. She's still here.
She knows that I tell her all the time. But yeah.
But wow, Susie, you have just blown us away with your journey. And we are so absolutely happy for you because it's a horrible thing, to be in pain and to kind of have the feeling like so much is running havoc with our bodies.
Mhm.
And it's hard, to take a chance when it comes to changing something that seems so simple to kind of just change the food. It seems so simple, but then again, it's kind of like in the beginning we make it so hard on ourselves. And it's very much like you said, it's really truly just giving your body what it needs keeping things simple, continue to experiment because the body is continuously going to change. Just like Robin also mentioned in the chat, just like you and I, she had issues on keto, but then carnivore was the changing
Yeah.
factor. But then again, part of carnivore, we can still incorporate other things, still have it work for us. And that's really what it's all about. So we wholeheartedly appreciate your transparency, especially
Mhm.
mentioning how you did go through an eating disorder. And I think, it's really important for some to realize still doing this way of eating, we could very much have that mentality when it comes to eating disorders. Um,
Mhm.
embrace the simplicity. Do not make yourself be restrictive. Don't feel like because somebody else is tracking, their macros that you got to track as well. It's important, like you said, I'm so happy that you mentioned the under eating because we very well could be doing this way of eating and be under eating, which is
Yeah.
definitely not
Yeah.
giving us any benefit at all. So you mentioning that was so important, but it's very much, embracing it like you have done, tweaking what needs to be tweaked.
Yep.
Don't allow yourself to at all stress about it because, as you reintroduce things, you did go through little bits of phases of irritations, but you kept pushing on, and that is truly what it is all about. So you truly shared just an amazing story with us. We would love to have you back on the future because it would
Oh,
be
thank you.
amazing to get an update from you. But thank you
Yes.
wholeheartedly for sharing your journey with all of us. And some that missed it in the beginning, as Cindy had said, that Susie does not have a dedicated YouTube channel as a content creator. So we so wholeheartedly appreciate that. She took a chance on us
And
encouraging
putting herself
those.
out there.
Exactly. Took a chance
Right.
on accepting the invitation from us, putting herself out there, like Cindy said, because it is not about having to have a channel, having to be a content creator. No, it is about being able to motivate others, being able to inspire others because, Susie, your story is truly going to resonate with somebody out there that might be going through, one of those complications that you had and them hearing all these little tweaks that you've made and the continuous experimenting that you're still doing. You're not giving up on yourself, which is absolutely huge. But we wholeheartedly appreciate you and the time that you spent with us this Friday. It is so easy
Absolutely.
for Cindy and I to go overtime because we just have so much fun with these lives.
Oh,
And,
and
when you're in good company,
yeah,
between the guests you have and the beautiful, amazing people that we continuously have in the chat, it is so easy to just not even pay attention to time and it just kind of just keep going. So we appreciate the time that you truly spent with us because we really did go into some overtime here. So thank
Now,
you so much.
real quick, you had mentioned a little bit ago that you're from the South.
yes, I'm
Where
from
in the
I'm
South?
from Oklahoma.
Okay.
Yes, and I moved here. It'll be I think it'll be 30 years this May. So
Oh
I've been
wow.
in Pennsylvania over half
Long
over
time. Wow.
over half my life now. So,
Yep.
but yeah. So I'm a transplant, but I've adopted this as my home and adapted to the climate and
Yep.
everything. And I've been told my accent's changed too. So, but that's fine. That's part of just life's journey. But
That happens.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But
But I
anyhow,
so
I just wanted to
enjoyed
ask.
talking to you both, and I just love the fact that you're having these collaborations and bringing people together to talk about the proper human diet. And I knew that I'd found a great place to come and socialize when I understood that You weren't dogmatic. You know,
Yep.
you're accepting and loving people and supportive of people in their journeys, and everybody's in a different place, you know, and following a track that's like unique to them. And I want you to know how much I appreciate both of you, and thank you
Well,
for the
thank you so
community that
much.
you're
Yes,
building for
thank
us
you.
here. It means a lot to me. So thank
And
you.
we
Oh, thank you.
appreciate you being in our
Yeah.
chats and especially being with us tonight. Absolutely.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah,
This
no,
is
thank you so
here it
much
is
for your
right
kind
here.
words.
Low carb events.
Yep.
But Ohio's not far from you.
It's not.
It's not out of reach. If I can travel 4 hours to go to Indiana,
I want to try to get my husband to go to one of the keto conventions too at some point. I'll have to work on that, but
I'll tell you, the one to go to is Keto Palooza.
I've heard that is the best one. Yes,
It
I heard that
definitely is.
Autumn puts on a wonderful convention.
She does. It's fantastic. And they're going to sell out quick. So,
Yeah.
Oh boy, in Louisville.
yes.
See, I can
Yes.
say that. I can
That's
pronounce
right.
it.
That's right.
Oh,
It's a lot of
you.
fun. Debbie and I went there the first time in 2022. And we had so much fun. It was like, oh my word. And then we went to KetoCon. And it was good. Don't get me wrong. We're going back again this year to Hack Your Health by KetoCon.
Hack your health, yeah.
But it wasn't the same.
Mm.
Autumn she's very regimented in how she puts it together, which makes it that much more interesting. All the speakers are in one room on one day. You have a fun night on Friday night. She does a walk on Sunday if you choose to do so. Sunday mornings, 3 different distances you can choose from. And then there's a closing brunch on Sunday. And it's packed full. You know, it's like something to do all the time. So it's so much fun. It's like, and it's just, not exorbitant amounts of people. She's going to limit it to, I think 350 is the max she's going to go.
Oh, yeah.
Where KetoCon is a couple thousand people.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a main stage, and then there's 2 breakout rooms. And last year, this is the craziest thing I still don't understand. Joe and Rachel were in a breakout room instead of the main stage. People were standing on top of people in this room.
Oh, wow.
That was the poorest planning I'd ever seen in my life. But that was crazy. They're not going to be there this year, but yeah, it was nuts.
Wow.
Somebody with that kind of following,
exactly
on the main stage.
Put them in a small
Yes.
like a breakout room.
It was nuts. But
Or
there's
even
always
there's some
3
that
things
like are
going on at
just
one time.
discovering. There's some that are just discovering 2 crazy ketos. So I think there's a lot that are just like curious of who they are, what they got to say. So you got all those people too, not just the ones that are following them.
Well, they're going to be on here March 1st.
Yes, very exciting.
Yay!
Very
Next week,
exciting. I'm super
Nurse
excited.
Cindy's going to be on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge treat
Oh,
because
that'll
she's
be a
just
great
amazing.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because she's so knowledgeable, but then again, she's just
Yes.
so sweet and down to earth.
Yeah.
Doesn't Nurse
She's so-
Cindy, doesn't she lift weights too, if I'm not mistaken?
She worked with Coach Bronson for a while, but this is her story to tell. So
We'll let
leave
her
that
we'll
for
let her
her.
tell that because I would love to hear more about her journey with that. Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. She's
Yeah.
amazing. We got to meet her at Keto Palooza 2022. She was one of the speakers. And
Very
it was
knowledgeable. Yeah.
it was absolutely amazing because her sister Debbie got her started on keto, like my sister Debbie got me started. Her Cindy, I'm Cindy too. And meeting her was just fantastic. So we have kept in touch via text ever since then.
Oh, that's
The three
great.
of us. Yeah. She had lost her sister, unfortunately.
Oh,
So when she found out about us, about me and my sister Debbie from
Right.
Rachel of Two Crazy Ketos, I got to meet them, she says. So Rachel introduced us all, and it was a hug fest and a crying fest, and it was just crazy. It was great.
Oh,
She's a great person. I can't wait till next week.
yes. So excited.
Yeah.
So super, super excited.
So anybody that's within listening distance, you better be here next Friday too.
Yes, it's
Because
definitely not
wow,
one anyone wants to
she's a
miss out on.
busy lady.
Yes.
I can
She
only
is
imagine. My goodness.
always traveling. She's a
No, we
wound
definitely
care
appreciate
nurse
she's making time for us.
who teaches about wound care.
Hmm.
So
Mm.
she's always traveling.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's a very special person. Anyhow, as are you, and thank you so
Mhm.
much, Susie.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. Just as Susie does, because as we mentioned, she is always so supportive in the chat.
Mhm.
Um, and we appreciate each and every one of you that continuously support us on these lives. We have a absolute blast doing them. We're so excited for the future ones that we have in store.
Yes.
But as always, everyone, thank you so much for the support. Thank you for any amount of time and love you show to us each and every Friday. We absolutely appreciate each and every one of you. So, with
Yes.
that being said, thank you so much for enjoying in our guest. We absolutely loved having you on, Susie. And like I said, we would love to have you on later
I would love
on
to come
to
back.
get an
Thank you.
update
This has been
because
a
you
great
have
conversation.
so many amazing things that you're healing, and to be able to get a future update would be awesome. It would be great.
I would be
Yeah,
happy.
maybe we can get your husband on with you too. See how he's
You
doing.
know what? That might be fun. I think we should still do a husband, get everybody's spouse in here and
Right?
yeah, I think we should.
Do you know how hard it is to get our husbands on here?
I
I am
know.
I
I
am
think
so
so.
lucky.
I
I
think
am so
Donna and I
lucky
were
I can.
talking about that I think it was several months ago, or there was a suggestion out there. We was like, oh yeah, the husband should make a guest appearance.
Yeah.
Like, let's get
I'm telling you, to get my husband on my videos as my guinea pig, and he does that. He's funny as heck.
him.
Tasting some of the stuff that I make. He cracks me up. He just cracks me up because but I want him so badly to get on and tell his story because
Yeah.
how keto has helped his diabetes.
Yes.
He has
Oh
cervical
yeah.
dystonia,
The-
which is a movement disorder, and it has
oh,
controlled that somewhat with surgery.
Mhm.
There he
oh,
is.
there he goes.
We're waving to him. Let's let him know.
Everyone's waving to you.
Hello. So
Oh,
yeah, it's he has a fantastic story on how it's helped improve his life.
Mhm.
And one of these days, I'm
Especially
just going
type
to tell him,
1.
I'm going to put my
Yes.
foot down and say, you and I are going live on this day at this time
Mhm.
so you can tell your story.
yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
just going to do it because
Yeah, just tell them, you know what, this is not, this is not not a request.
it's not a question.
This is not a question.
It's a demand.
He's out here yelling because he can hear
Oh
me. He's out
no!
there saying
Get you in
something.
trouble.
I just
Yeah,
I
mine.
can barely
He's
hear him with these
protesting.
on, but I can hear him.
Protesting from the next
Crazy.
room.
Yeah, like my husband lost 50 pounds on keto.
You
That's
see?
awesome.
Yeah, and his blood work was like awesome.
Well, and
Yeah.
getting up in the morning and like doing
Oh.
road work for 5 miles.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
fine.
he's saying exercise helped with that too. So
You see?
Well, when I lost my 100 pounds, I did it sitting on my butt.
Yeah.
I started September of 2020, and in 23 months, I had lost 100 pounds.
Mhm.
Did not exercise a lick.
oh,
Didn't
No.
go for walks.
No.
Didn't do anything.
Yeah. That was my first 110 also.
Mm-hmm.
Shockingly, people would ask me, "Oh, what fitness did you do?" Nothing. Nothing. I focused on the food.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they're thinking, you've been spending like 4 hours a day on
Yeah.
the treadmill or something, and no,
No.
it's all
I'm getting more
nutrition.
exercise in now than I did then. But my feeling is you've got to heal your body.
Yeah.
You've got to get to where you're feeling better before you can work on that aspect of things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Otherwise,
when
you're
I
just gonna
felt
do
more
yourself. Yeah.
like bowling, I'm telling you, it takes a lot.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot of it's good
The
exercise
whole
and it's
body.
fun.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, definitely.
But we go to the gym periodically. When the weather's nice, we get out and take walks. When my foot's not broken.
Oh,
So trying to baby that while still bowling. I don't do much after bowling.
oh,
Put my foot up and ice it.
yeah.
But it's getting better. It feels a lot better. So that's good.
I'm
Anyhow,
glad you're on the mend.
oh yeah. I was on the mend by the time I went to the doctor because I kept putting it off.
Like, how are you doing this so quickly? It's like,
Oh,
yeah,
that was crazy.
proper
It
human
had been
diet.
hurting for months.
Exactly. Through the food, the
But
body's
yeah.
capable of healing itself.
Yep.
It's
Absolutely.
amazing what it can do. It really is.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Really, truly.
All right. We
Well,
are
we've
2
got
hours
into
in.
yes, we've got into a Southern goodbye, which is always something to bring up
That's
about.
true. It's true.
What? What do you mean we got to go? What?
I'll see y'all later.
Yes, thank
But
you
hang
so,
on a
so
Thank
much,
second.
you.
everybody.
Hang in a second,
Yes,
Susie.
we'll
But
bring you back.
Alrighty.
everybody else
Yes.
will
Thank
say
you
good
so much,
night and thank you
everybody.
so much for
Yes.
being here.
Have
Okay,
a
good night,
wonderful
everyone.
weekend.
Good night.
Take care,
Bye.
everyone.
Take care.